I don't know which part of the world you are watching this video from, but here in France the temperature is starting to get very hot, and I'm very sorry, but what I'm about to say is not gonna make things any easier because KTM, the Austrian manufacturer, has just released a very interesting announcement, the evolution of one of its mainstays. I'm talking about the Scalpel. Yes, the KTM 790 Duke is here with its 2027 new model, and there are many interesting things to say about this new machine, including one that I find really hilarious. Hi there everyone, I hope you are doing fine and welcome to this breaking news edition of Moto Bistro, your motorcycle news show dedicated to all the announcements in this very interesting motorcycle world. And so today we're gonna talk about this new KTM 790 Duke, which is the very first motorcycle that has introduced just to the LC8C, this parallel inline twin-cylinder engine that we've seen first on the 2026 and older versions of the KTM 790 Duke. This machine here in its very first appearance, it's almost exactly the same as the very first model. And then we had the 890 Duke and now the 990 Duke, which is really close to a mini Super Duke rather than evolution of the 890, a bike that I love to try. But today we're gonna talk about this new machine. So what does the press release say? Experience the mastery of control. So this 2027 KTM 790 Duke marks a bold return of the Scalpel. It is the nickname KTM gave it, and representing the most extensive evolution within the life cycle of this model to date. And it is kind of true that the 790 Duke didn't evolve that much. It evolved into new models, the 890 and the 990, but not really per se with the 790 model. With an aggressive styling update, we're gonna look into that a bit later on, more intuitive tech and rider-focused ergonomic improvements, reinforcing its position as the benchmark in the middleweight naked bike segment. And it is true that this is a very competitive segment, the middleweight naked bike segment, but the 790 Duke has some weapons that really should be looked upon. And so let's start by looking at the machine in terms of appearance. As you can see, the main difference on this bike is the headlight, because we have now something that is very inspired, very close to what you can see on a 990 Duke or the Super Duke, the 1390. And if we were to compare it with the old model, you can see that the bike is really much more aggressive in its styling, in its lines. And if we are to look at it from the side, you'll see that there are also some interesting differences. One of them being the exhaust system, which is a bit more stylish in this new version. The old one was really super ugly, and all the lower part of the machine is really super close. The rear part is very similar to the previous model, and the tank cover is a bit different. The 790, the standard model, was a bit more soft, smooth, I would say. Here we have something that is a bit more aggressive. And then of course there is one main change on this machine, which is very important, or rather not a change, but something that is super fundamental on this bike. It is its engine, of course, because the LC8C is one of the most remarkable engines in this category, I would say. So it is still the same parallel twin engine, and we have 87 Newton meters of torque. It is one of the highest values in the segment, with smooth usable power from low RPM, and we have a power value of 105 horsepower at 9,500 RPM. It is really one of the highest values you can find on the market today. It's Euro 5 plus 2, sorry, for our European friends, thanks to an all-new fuel exhaust system and a fuel consumption of only 4.6 liters per 100 kilometers. In the European markets, because you are some also that are watching this video from Europe, The 790 Duke 2027 is available in a 95 PS configuration, which is kind of interesting because I am a bit curious about this statement, the way they say this. Does that mean that we have two versions in Europe, in France, in Portugal, Spain, etc., etc.? We have two versions, one that is full power and the other which would be equivalent to the L version, so limited to 95 horsepower, so we can limit it to 47.5 for the A2 rider's license, or do we only have the 95 horsepower version, which could be easier maybe for KTM. I must remind you that the brand has had many economical problems recently, so that could be one of the changes they would bring to the table regarding this, but we'll see. There's another thing that is super important on a 790 Duke. It is the frame, the suspension, the brakes, because this bike is not an engine only, it is also a very exhilarating riding experience in terms of turns. And so we still have the same chromium, molybdenum, chromo, tubular steel further frame, which is very hard to say. So they didn't change anything on here, but they gained 2 kilograms on the bike, so that's still a win in a machine that was already one of the lightest in the segment, so that's very cool. And then we have also something very interesting on the fork. So we have still the same elements, a WP fork, which is really cool because WP, they make super nice suspension. So 43 millimeters open cartridge upside down, and it is adjustable. We have 5-click adjustability in terms of compression, damping and rebound damping, so in the left, in the right, so the functions are separated, kind of a Showa SFF BP fork. And on the top of that, we have the brakes, which are super important because we have new elements on this machine. So all new WP braking system developed entirely in-house. So that means that WP are also starting to make brakes, in-house brakes for this machine. Must I remind you that on this bike, this 2026 790 Duke, we had G1 brakes, I think. They were like, they had the logo, the stamping with KTM on it, but I think they are G1 logos, which are like a low-cost entry version of Brembo. And so on this 2027 version, we have new radially mounted, 4-piston radially mounted calipers, which kind of look cool. I really dig the look of those WP calipers. And then we have Diablo Rosso 4 tires, which are super cool from Pirelli. They are like a bit more oriented to like dynamic racing than, you know, under the rain, but that's still kind of cool. And then we're going to talk about the technology of this machine because there are some interesting things. So one of them is that we have a brand new 5 inches bonded glass TFT. So bonded glass is a technology that is all the rage in 2025, 2026. The new Panigale V4 has it, the 990 RCR has it. So it allows to have less reflection when you are looking at it with a lot of sunlight, so it delivers a clear, commanding view for the rider. And what do we have inside this machine in terms of riding modes, of little, you know, suites? So 3 riding modes, as of always: rain, street, sport, which allows you to take full advantage of the 105 horsepower, but there is something above that. It is, of course, the track pack. So the track pack allows you to unlock the track mode, which will give you the full capabilities of the machine. And it is true that when you are riding a KTM 790 Duke, there is a big difference in terms of throttle response, of throttle aggressiveness between sport mode and track mode. It is really another beast altogether. And so it is something that I really advise people to purchase on their machines because it is super nice. We have launch control, we have throttle response, anti-wheeling control, MTC slip adjustment, and on top of that, you have the tech pack. So the tech pack allows you to have all the benefits of the track pack, but also motor slip regulation, lightning fast chips with the Quick Shifter Plus, and cruise control. And there is something I must discuss with you guys because this is so funny. So funny. So it is on the press release article and we're gonna read that together. More importantly, we listened and we acted. You know that when it starts like that, rider feedback has been taken on board with intent, leading to the phased withdrawal of demo mode from future models. A clear decision shaped by those riders. So, if you don't know what the demo mode is, basically on all the latest big KTM machines, Super Adventure, Super Duke, 990 RCR, maybe not that one because it is more on the latest side, but I would say all the 2025 machines, you had what they call the demo mode. So the idea was that for the first 1,500 kilometers, so 1,000 miles, you add all the additional features of the machine, you know, all the things that you can have inside the tech pack, the track pack, so the quick shifter, the track mode, the performance mode, all of that was active for 1,500 kilometers. And after that, all the features shut off and you have to go to KTM and decide if you want to purchase them or not. And so, if really riders, motorcycle riders have been complaining about that, I salute you. You know why? Because the decision from KTM was very simple. They took out the demo mode and you don't have anything in return. That means that you go back to the beginning of things where you had to buy those features just to try them. Or you can try them maybe if they have a demo motorcycle at the shop, but you're gonna run the machine for 20, 30 kilometers. You're not gonna be able to enjoy that for 1,500 kilometers. And so, if what we've read is true, if KTM is not making, you know, a marketing shift or something like that because they wanted to, you know, get rid of the demo mode, if that's true, if that thing really comes from complaint from the motorcycle community, from people that rode KTM motorcycles and that complained that this was not something they wanted, you realize that, like, you complained for them to take out something that was really a benefit. You had the opportunity to try things and to see if you like them or not. But no, the idea was, oh no, now that I rode for 1,500 kilometers with all these features, they are taking them out and that doesn't agree with me, so I'd rather pay them right from the go. That's a nice move. That's really a nice move, guys. Like, congrats, because there are some times where I don't understand the motorcycle community. I don't understand that move. There is nothing smart or intelligent in complaining about the demo mode. It's only something that allows people to try it, and if they like it, they can keep it, of course, by paying it, because it was always something that was paid, and if they didn't want to, no problem, but at least they had the opportunity to try it. Now, you don't have anything, and you have to pay for it. That's really fantastic. So, what's the price of this machine? Of course, the KTM 790 Duke is gonna be released in a lot of countries, but here in France, it's priced at 8,500 euros without the tech pack, which could probably cost between 700 and 1,000 euros. So that would put the price of the machine between 9,200 and 9,500 euros. And so, as you can have like a comparing value, of course, in your different markets, the prices are not going to be the same. But if we're going to go look at the competition, we have the MT-07, which is of course one of the first machines that comes to mind. So this bike with the YAMT automatic gearbox costs the same price, 8,500 euros. It is a very interesting machine that really needed to be upgraded, but Yamaha did a good job giving it an inverted fork, radially mounted calipers, a new look, more technology. So it is kind of more competitive now, but it has still the same CP2 engine, which is way less powerful than the 790 Duke. It is like 74 horsepower, and also in terms of torque, it's way less torquey. And it is also a motorcycle that doesn't have the same dynamic capabilities of the 790 Duke. So I would say that the surplus you pay on the KTM is well worth the price because the machine is very, very interesting in that regard, but it is still one of the most wanted machines in that category. You also have the CB750 Hornet, the Honda, which is an absolute beast. It was the most sold motorcycle in France in 2023 and very, very close to that ranking in the next years. And so this machine, believe it or not, because we are talking about Honda, is much closer to the KTM than the MT-07. First of all, we have the engine, which is the same as the Transalp. It is the new inline parallel twin cylinder that they made, and it is very close in terms of power value, 92 horsepower, but it is also super close in terms of performance, and I would say character, you know, personality. It is a super nice engine. When you are riding this thing in sport mode, God, does it feel like a KTM. It is a super nice machine with good equipments. You have an inverted fork, you have radially mounted calipers from Nissin, you have some technology, and the prices are kind of nice. On the UK, it's like £7,500, but you also have the opportunity to have the e-clutch version. So this is the price with the e-clutch version, which is kind of an assisted gearbox. You know, it's not the same as an automated gearbox like the DTC technology, but it allows you to shift the gears and even, you know, stop in second or third gear without the bike stalling. It is super, super nice. And I think it's 8,500 euros in France. So it's the same price as a KTM. Could be super interesting if you want maybe a more reliable machine or a bigger network depending on the country you are. Maybe KTM is a bit less developed. It can be interesting. And the last one I want to talk about is the CF Moto 800 NK, which is a beast and maybe one of the most interesting machines you can buy. In this category, you have the same engine, so it is the LC8C from the 790 Duke. Very interesting. Lots of pop and bang noise also on this machine, very, very surprisingly so. The suspensions, the brakes are also top-notch. G1 technology, so it is Brembo, low-cost Brembo technology, but it's super cool. And those are very interesting bang for buck values. Really, if you have CF Moto on your country, go look at it. Go test it. There are several versions of the 809K. You have the sport version, which has like a slightly less interesting screen, you know, a bit smaller. And you have the advanced TC version, which has, of course, traction control, which is something that I would strongly advise you if you never rode a bike to have on your machine. But also you have a gigantic 8-inch screen, which is tactile. You have keyless technology on the bike. You can have wireless CarPlay on the machine. And the bang for buck ratio on this bike is absolutely insane. It is a bike that I recommend everyone to buy if you are interested in the middleweight naked category. But still, maybe in terms of pure dynamic behavior, you know, this bike may win because we have very, very high grade suspensions. The WP suspension is very good. New brakes, that could be very interesting for the future. So you will tell me in the comments, what do you think about this new 790 Duke? Is it something that you could be interested in? Or do you have maybe another machine in that segment that you prefer? Tell me. And also, more than that, please, if you like the content, if you want to support my work, subscribe to the channel, activate your notifications. It is really the strongest help you can send. And I will see you very, very soon. Summer is upon us, depending on the country you are watching from. It's starting to get very hot, and I really do believe that it's gonna get hotter every single day because we are approaching ECMA. And I really believe that all the manufacturers are gonna start to really show what they have in their hand to prepare for the big show in Italy in November. So in the meantime, guys, I will see you very soon for more content. Stay safe, enjoy riding. See you.